Atrium Health trauma surgeon. Another summer day brings the heat, children outside playing, picnics, and just plain fun. But for some,
the grief is always there.
The summer months can bring a devastating reality.
It's scary because you never know what day is going to turn.
As a mentor, Rayleigh has seen violence take kids in front of the gun and behind it. He says during the summer, it's worse.
So people are out more in the nighttime, so a lot of crime happens.
While Rayleigh is trying to save kids, helping them with their mental health.
I try to do a lot of things and workshop for young men in his honor to help them to make the right choices. The right choices. That one bad choice can cause a devastation for your life forever.
Dr. Jacobs is in the operating room trying to save them as well.
We do see more gunshot wounds and stab wounds and what we call blunt assault in the months of June, July, and August.
According to Jacobs, historically, he usually sees more patients in the summer.
They're more active, there are more daylight hours. Maybe partially the reason for this, but probably doesn't explain everything.
CMPD data shows violent crime from 2020 to 2023, including homicide, rape, aggravated assault, robbery, and non-fatal gunshot injuries, spike in the summer months. You can see in this chart the spikes happening in June, July, and August, with the highest amount of violent crimes happening in the month of July. A spike Rayleigh says doesn't need to happen.
I truly do believe it takes a world, not a village, to stop this crime that's happening across our nation.
So we can verify that, yes, violent crime does spike in the summer months. We have a list of mentorship programs on our website, WCNC.com. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And don't forget, WCNC Charlotte is making a difference with your help. When you share your news tips, we go to work.
I sent you that email. 15 minutes later, you're responding to me.
When a Charlotte woman battling cancer lost her health coverage, we demanded answers.
Within hours of WCNC Charlotte asking questions, the agency responsible quickly corrected its mistake.
Let us get to work for you.
Reach out to news tips at WCNC.com. WCNC Charlotte, news that impacts you.
Well, earlier this month, 37-year-old Daniel Gomez was shot and killed, leaving behind his 6-year-old pup, Zeus. After his owner died, Zeus had nowhere to go, and local organizations say instances like this may happen more often than you think.
WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker joins us now live in the studio to show us how one organization is seeking solutions for cases like this. And Austin, I think, we talk about crime, we talk about victims of crime, but we don't often talk about pets being the victims in some of these cases.
Yeah, guys, that's right. So no one ever thinks their pets will outlive them, but in some cases it does happen. And if there's no plan about who will get the pet, they could end up at the pound. But a nonprofit right here in Charlotte is working to ensure every animal gets that second chance. Meet this prancing pup.
The squeaky really gets him.
Parading around a backyard in North Charlotte.
Zeus, come here. Yeah, come here.
Zeus.
What are you doing?
Is in a transition period.
I think he's in the best place he could possibly be right now.
Zeus's owner was tragically killed earlier this month, but Leah Hendrickson and her team at Animal City got to work.
We step in when we can. And the thing about this particular case is that we were able to step in because we had a foster parent family.
Right now, Zeus is on a trial run with a loving family.
Drop it. Good boy.
Hanging out with his possible soon-to-be brother, Skeeter.
Hoping things continue to go smoothly for this trial run with this new potential adoptive family.
A second chance.
This is our best success story yet. Oh my gosh. Zeus.
Zeus zips and zooms today, only made possible by others. I think I have the best story this morning, but this is just one example of what they do. Now, the organization is fairly new and is growing, but it relies on people to foster. So if you want to and can open your home to any animal, you can visit that website. We have that on WCNC.com.
Well, new at 5:30, Charlotte is making some strides in helping people move up in life. 10 years ago, the Queen City ranked dead last for economic mobility. But now there's a new report out today ranking the city 38th out of the country's 50 largest cities.
WCNC Charlotte's Ben Thompson shows us how the city has been working to improve upon past failures.
Charlotte prides itself for ranking near the top of all the most sought-after lists. Best place to live, one of the fastest growing cities, best place for young professionals. But that's not been the reality for folks like Vivian Howard.
Cost of living in Charlotte is insane.
She grew up in public housing at Southside Homes. Her mom working multiple jobs.
We lived here for 15 years, like we just got out.
10 years ago, one study disrupted our city's sterling reputation. Harvard's Land of Opportunity study, also known as the Chetty study, named for pioneering economist Raj Chetty. It ranks Charlotte worst in the country for economic mobility. Simply put, folks here get trapped in poverty and can't get out. Somebody born here at Southside Homes should be able to work really hard and one day buy a place across the street in South End. But for too many people here in Charlotte, that's a lot harder than it looks.
My family, just like many others, have come to Charlotte in hopes of buying a home, having great careers, raising children. And I want those same opportunities to be true for local Charlotteans who were born here. Sherry Chisholm is the director of Leading on Opportunity, an organization created in response to the Chetty study. Its council, a who's who of Charlotte's business, political, and community leaders. Using public-private partnerships, the group's trying to level the playing field by addressing things like early child care and education, family stability, and college and career readiness.
The policies that we're putting in place, they're not policies for us right now. It's for the children and our grandchildren.
The study led to big reforms, including the Mayor's Racial Equity Initiative, the city's 2040 plan, and investments into Johnson C. Smith. Vivian calls herself a poster child for what can be. She's currently enrolled at Winston-Salem State University, and she's interning at Red Ventures.
I feel like I have a bright future. I have the drive for it.
Proof that Charlotte and some of its most vulnerable neighbors are making progress. Ben Thompson, WCNC Charlotte.
Download the WCNC Charlotte News app today for your WCNC weather impact forecast, breaking news alerts, and 24-hour streaming content. Download today.
And we start with this right now. Jails in our area, they are trying to figure out how drugs are getting in and killing inmates. Just this week, 2 inmates overdosed and died while behind bars in the Richland County Jail. Now, we're told one of them died from fentanyl, the other a similar drug.
And now this jail, not the only one seeing this issue. Here in Mecklenburg County, the Sheriff's Department is also investigating how fentanyl is getting behind bars. And you might be surprised at what they found.
WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker spoke one-on-one with Sheriff Gary McFadden, who is seeking solutions to keep the drugs out. Austin.
Yeah, Colin, Vanessa, this is a standard greeting card filled with personal messages, but in some cases, it's filled with something that's killing people. Behind a lock and key,
very strict.
The Mecklenburg County Jail must be secure.
Here at the Sheriff's Office, we've taken it very seriously.
With Sheriff Gary McFadden at the helm.
So you always have to stay a step ahead.
He mostly knows what comes in and what goes out. Even something as simple as mail.
Material inside, of course, pornographic, gang material.
Expectations of what can't be sent.
Staples, paper clips.
And one that shouldn't have to be said at all.
Fentanyl.
But it's just one of the things making it in and killing inmates. July 6, 2022, according to autopsy records and attorneys, Russell Fincham dying from fentanyl inside the Mecklenburg County Jail, one of at least 10 people who have died inside the jail from fentanyl in the last 7 years.
People are very tricky.
McFadden says the way it's coming through is difficult to see.
Take the greeting card and actually soak it in whatever fentanyl solution that they have. And they soak it, and then they dry it out.
The card is then signed, sealed, sent, and later received.
It's actually go inside, tear up the very thick card like this, put it inside of hot water or coffee, and just like a tea bag, whatever is contained in that paper wicks out into the drink.
And if a few people share the same cup, it's even worse. Using an Alka-Seltzer as an example.
When you put the Alka-Seltzer in, it fizzes in the water and you drink it. But when you put that glass down, you see some residue of that Alka-Seltzer in there. So imagine doing that 4 and 5 times, and then the last person who may get that last dose is actually residue from 5 different doses, and that person dies.
In an effort to get a handle on this, the jail made a change.
If you write somebody in Mecklenburg County a letter, that will now go to P.O. Box 247, Phoenix, Maryland. They scan it in, scan that letter in, scan will pop up on that resident's tablet.
Partnering with the company Text Behind.
And we launched to the public in 2015.
The CEO, Zia Rana, says the Mecklenburg County Jail now joins dozens of others across the country with the system, a way inmates can still connect with the outside world in the safest way possible.
Anywhere between 40 to 75, even up to 80% of the contraband comes to the postal mail into the prisons. So we have done well over 5 million postal letters so far just since 2019, in the last 5 years. There has not been a single incident.
Another step ahead. Or so they thought. There's been dozens of court cases ruling a detention center must give an inmate their physical legal mail addressed from an attorney. But some still try to be one step ahead.
You buy a envelope, you put all this mail in it, you put the lawyer's name on it, you go to Staples and get a rubber stamp that anybody can buy, confidential, legal mail, stamp it. It looks just like it comes from a lawyer.
McFadden says they now require inmates to open the legal mail in front of detention officers. What many think is impenetrable, the jail continues to prepare for what's next.
So you always have to stay a step ahead.
Another key, he hopes, to locking down what's supposed to be a fortress. Now, as you'd imagine, there have been some pushback about this from groups in our area. Then the Prison Policy Initiative released a report back in 2022 saying digitized mail just harms inmates and doesn't make a jail or prison any safer and makes their mental health go down, and it just dehumanizes them. And they say that they are prioritizing that profit over the person. For now, live in Uptown, Austin Walker, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, finding success in life is a challenge by itself, but add living in a foreign country with a different language, and it can get a lot harder. I met with a group here in Mecklenburg County that's helping people move past those barriers to success.
While what these women are holding looks like a simple piece of paper.
You know, when somebody can advocate for themselves in a new community, you do see not only is there a mental health transition, but there is a physical transition.
Autumn Wild says what they are actually holding are tools for success.
You know, for us that are U.S. born and raised in the communities, you know, we learn how to navigate public transportation, for example. But if you've ever navigated public transportation, it can be complicated. Yeah. And so imagine if you don't speak the language.
Weil is the executive director of Charlotte nonprofit International House, devoted to helping immigrants and the international culture flourish, with programs like English classes, pathways to citizenship, and cultural sensitivity classes for community members. In 2023, the nonprofit helped more than 5,000 people, with 109 individuals becoming citizens.
And that's part of our mission too, not only helping newcomers from other countries, but helping the community at large understand cultural differences.
One way they are doing that, through the arts. International House partners with Blumenthal Arts for a competition for visual artists who are immigrants that live in Mecklenburg County called The Journey.
And it allows them, they have to enter a piece that expresses their journey to the U.S. And that can be very emotional across the entire spectrum. It can be very hope-filled, but also very harrowing.
While it's a chance to hear their stories,
people had to leave a situation where gang violence was very real in order to just survive.
It's also a platform for discussion.
And so the artwork, it crosses language barriers, it crosses politics.
Sharing a piece of their past with hopes of success in the future. Reporting for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Nick Sturdivant.
And WCNC Charlotte is partnering with International House for a fun event tomorrow. Some of their program participants will meet us at an AMC theater to watch the opening ceremony of the Olympics. All AMC theaters are offering this opportunity, so make sure to buy your tickets if you would like to go. Well, it's another day to stay weather aware. So I got to bring in my friend, meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees. And Brittany, can folks expect some relief outside?
Not for the next 2 days, Nick. In fact, I wore blue really to just try to get us to cool down a little bit, which we will as we approach the weekend, but it's not going to be much. In fact, both today and tomorrow are days to stay weather aware because of those heat index values potentially getting close to 105. For most of the Charlotte metro area and south, today we have a heat advisory. And if you have the WCNC Charlotte mobile app, you might have gotten an alert really about 20 minutes or so ago that we do have another heat advisory issued for tomorrow. So all these tips, right? Stay cool, take those breaks in the air conditioning, seek shade if you're outside, and of course stay hydrated. Biggest thing too is knowing, of course, the difference between heat stroke and heat exhaustion, of course the confusion, the unconsciousness, and then eventually the hot, kind of dry skin. Those are some of the big signs there of heat stroke. Of course, dizziness, thirst, and heavy sweating, and nausea just as bad. So knowing the difference though is really knowing the difference between heat exhaustion, which is severe, but heat stroke, which is a medical emergency. We have more on the breakdown of differences over on our WCNC Charlotte mobile app, as well as our website, WCNC.com, if you would like a full list. Now, it's today and tomorrow that really see the highest heat index values before, again, we eventually go down a little bit as we approach the weekend and early next week. Temperature-wise, we'll be in the 90s still, but the feels like numbers will be a little bit closer to typical for July and early August standards, which is mainly in the upper 90s to lower 100s. Now, storms over the next few days, anytime we see heat and humidity, we have the potential for not only some really heavy rain, gusty winds, but even some low and severe storms. So the next 3 days, we have a low chance. The biggest impact, as it almost always is here in the Carolinas, is gusty winds that could even topple some trees, especially based on the fact that we've seen a lot of rain lately. Our drought monitor, that looked a little bit better because of the recent rain, but I know many of you probably have saturated grounds. Just know that anytime you have winds around 40 to 50 miles per hour, even if they're not at severe status, when that ground is already saturated, oftentimes those trees can come down a little bit quicker. So this is kind of the time frame where you might want to consider looking at your yard. Of course, as we see more storms heading into August and September. Here's Doppler radar right now. Mostly just light to moderate rain here moving through Statesville there and Iredell County, right where I-77 and I-40 meet. We have a few pop-up storms now developing in western parts there of Caldwell County and a little bit further south in southern Union and down toward Lancaster. So the storms are few and far between. That's what will remain for the rest of today. But tomorrow could see some heavier rain, some gusty wind, and maybe even a little bit earlier. Here's 2 o'clock for the mountains and foothills. Notice approaching the Piedmont after 5. So this will impact your evening commute tomorrow. So it's not just the heat and humidity. Storms are kind of a number 2. That moves through by Friday afternoon and evening. But then look, on Saturday, we once again will see pop-up showers and storms, this time mainly after 2 o'clock, but actually mainly along in southeast of Charlotte. So it starts tomorrow in the mountains and foothills, but on Saturday it'll be a little bit later on in the day and a little bit further to our south and southeast. But again, heavy rain, gusty winds, the primary impact from these storms. So kind of a 1-2 punch, right, with the heat and storms over the next few days. So just be aware of that, especially Thursday and Friday. In the tropics, we have an update here now, a high chance of seeing Debbie over the next 7 days. Consistently seeing some models track a little bit further west, so it does look more likely like this system will go into the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe not the best news for the Gulf states, but a track further west indicates a weaker storm so far, so that's always good news as we look ahead. Here's your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. I'm keeping today on there so you, of course, can remember to stay weather aware. We have that risk again for heat stroke, heat exhaustion again on Friday, and then we're a little bit lower Saturday, but still feeling like the triple digits, so a good idea to stay weather aware there. And then as we hit Sunday, that's the day, Nick, that you'll be so happy to see a heat index of 99 instead of 105.
Weather impacts everything. Stay prepared with WCNC Charlotte's Weather Impact Team.
That is one ominous-looking storm.
Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich and the entire Weather Impact Team delivers the win.
Sunday and Wednesday are going to feel the hottest.
The impact.
Winds 60 miles an hour.
And what you need to stay safe and weather aware.
Head to the interior room, away from those outside walls and windows.
Stay aware of weather that impacts you by downloading the WCNC News app now.
Well, more than ever before, choosing where to eat or shop is all about word of mouth. Much of that word of mouth, though, comes from influencers sometimes on your social media feeds.
Yeah, and these influencers are generating big business. It is a $24 billion industry at this point, with 5 million influencers nationwide and thousands here in Charlotte racking up views. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden spoke to local businesses who say these influencers are key when figuring out where's the money.
These days, advertising is all about watching fun video on your cell phone. So we're checking in with some of the Queen City's top influencers. They're the ones making all the content you're watching.
Sometimes the quality is great, sometimes it's not.
From fashion to food,
I don't think enough of y'all know about this spot yet,
to fitness and fun things to do in Charlotte. Let's go! There's an influencer for that.
I just literally want to leave a positive mark on the city that I adore.
It's about using your platform with purpose.
So if that's influencing, a win is a win.
I am obsessed with these pants.
Well, I have had a lot of fun with it.
Okay, ready? Go. We do call ourselves influencers.
Just 15 minutes from Uptown Charlotte.
I think it's important. We have a unique opportunity in Charlotte to showcase all of these different places that no one would have an opportunity to see before.
Cam and Kirsten are a married couple. Together, they make up CLT Living.
Love exploring the city and having fun things to do. Let me start posting about it for our friends to see. Soon enough, we got some great traction and realized that we could really impact local businesses. We also had a desire to become entrepreneurs.
Hey, let's talk shorts.
44-year-old mom of two and model Brooke Hall also accidentally landed in the influencing world. When she got bored during COVID, she started posting pictures of herself wearing clothes from area boutiques, and 4 years later is making money doing it.
I worked for Boeing yesterday, and Megan, the owner, she was like, we sell out of what you post. And honestly, that makes me feel better, not for me, but for them.
Hall admits putting reels together is a lot more work than most people think.
It takes a long time. Now when I am doing a reel for someone and I do charge, it is for my time, you know, in the editing process and making it look as best as I can.
Ohavia Phillips is a Charlotte Hornets host and MCs events throughout the city and country.
It's blowing my mind.
She can't believe she makes a living doing something she loves. She says influencing is about building up the city she calls home.
Yes, we're shouting out that business. Yes, we're shouting out that hotel, that restaurant, but it goes both ways. They're also helping us amplify our pages and also build the communities that I believe, if we're talking influencing, that's what we should be doing, building community.
Sherry Johnson is the marketing director for Lost Worlds Beer and runs her own marketing firm. She says influencers are the new way of advertising.
Something really exciting is happening.
Influencers are a way for us to reach an audience we can't through our own platforms. It's important to be a little more highly targeted these days. Having a lot of eyeballs on your brand are over. But if you really have specific goals and strategies, I think you need to get hyper-focused, and influencers allow you to do that.
A win-win, they all say, for the influencers, the businesses, and the city they serve.
Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
Oh, and you got to be creative. That's part of it.
Well, and I can't tell you how many DMs I get from friends like, here's a reel, this is a place we want to go now.
Yeah, you're right.
It's very influential.
Flock to, right? Yeah. That word of mouth. So one of the goals with our Where's the Money segments is to help you get ahead and explain the money matters that matter most to you.
So that said, we are asking you, what do you want to see from our team? If you have something you think we should look into, let us know. You can send us an email to money@wcnc.com or reach out on social media.
Time now to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. The Olympics are in Paris, but one of the game's hottest events is actually 10,000 miles away.
This year, Olympic surfing is being hosted in the small island nation of Tahiti. Let's connect the dots. Paris officials say the decision to hold the competition in Tahiti aligns with their goal to spread the games across France. Tahiti is the largest nation in French Polynesia and one of France's most well-known territories. The village where surfing is being held has already been a world-renowned venue for surfers for decades. It's dangerous, though, with surfers having to be careful of heavy waves and shallow reefs. While the 48 surfers competing are miles away from Paris's Olympic Village, they won't be missing out. Athletes will be enjoying the game's first ever floating Olympic Village, a cruise ship with 24-hour dining, a tattoo shop, and a water slide. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Question everything and verify with WCNC Charlotte. Taking questions, seeking experts for the answers, and sharing the knowledge to distinguish fact from fiction.
With this breaking news, we're seeing a lot of claims on social media.
No question left unanswered.
Police say this is true. All 4 of those shootings are connected.
Clearing up the confusion and bringing the truth into focus. WCNC Charlotte is guiding the way.
The Olympics highlight classic sports like gymnastics, track and field, and swimming, but there are also some lesser-known sports.
WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker joins us live from Monroe this morning. So, Austin, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. We are talking about fencing, a sport that many don't really know about, but it's gaining quite some traction right here in the U.S. But that being said, you know, there's some things that I didn't know, but it's growing to be one of my favorite sports to watch and to even practice now. So right here in Monroe, North Carolina, you can find Olympic level training and coaching at the Triple Threat Fencing Academy.
Okay, don't turn around.
Coach Boris Corrigan
I can compare it to the work of sculptor.
is an artist.
You shape a new fencer.
Coaching athletes at Triple Threat Fencing Academy in Monroe, something he says he was born to do.
I understood that that's something which I will be doing all my life.
But his history started thousands of miles away. He became a fencer in the 70s, competing on the world stage for Ukraine.
But it teaches you how to make a decision momentarily.
And he was coached by this man right here.
Come to me, please.
Oleksii Ivanov.
I'm national coach of Ukraine, and I was former national coach of USA.
The two now teaching athletes in rural North Carolina.
Small places have potential which nobody knows and nobody think about that.
Hoping to bring them up to the Olympic level.
You do your best and they reward you for it, but they also push you.
I didn't know that there was going to be so many like cool people, like Olympians, like people who fence nationally.
Learning to love the sport.
Agility, speed, and quite often called physical chess.
Again, a lot to learn about this sport because, again, I didn't know much about it. So to learn more about it when I was here yesterday, I actually want to talk to the owner right here and bring him in. This is Chris. And now Chris is going to walk us through some of the key factors within fencing. And the big one is safety. Obviously, this is a sword looking like thing, but it's not sharp, right?
No, it's not sharp. And there's a button on the end. So no one gets cut, maybe some bruises, that's about it.
Gotcha. Well, just like any other sport like football, you could have some minor stuff here and there, but again, safe for anybody. So let's actually walk us through some of the stances that we could see. So what do we do first?
Sure. First thing, put on your mask always.
Safety, right?
We have all the protective gear on, so.
All right, so what is the big thing I should do first?
You're gonna take on guard, so put your right foot forward.
Okay.
Yes. We're down here. You bend at the knees.
This is the stance.
This is the stance. This is your on-guard stance.
Gotcha.
Now what you're going to do is extend your arm, and then you're going to lunge into me by kicking your front foot forward. Yes.
Like that?
Yes. So
okay, perfect.
And shoot.
Okay, see exactly, right there. So this did not hurt whatsoever. While it did tap me a little bit, no pain at all. So again, if you're looking to get any of that Olympic level training or fencing in, you can come right here to the Triple Threat Fencing Academy in Monroe, North Carolina. But for now, we are live in Monroe. Austin Walker, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, so the next Olympics, are we going to see Austin out in LA for fencing?
I don't know. Hopefully, I can be out at the next Olympics. I think I can do that, guys.
I think so. I think supposedly you have to do lots of lunges to prepare yourself.
Yes.
Lots of lunges.
Yeah,
I can get ready for that, right? I can do pretty well. I got it.
Meantime, some new questions tonight about whether Charlotte's plan to reduce crashes and traffic-related deaths has actually made an impact.
The Vision Zero plan rolled out 5 years ago with the city investing millions of your taxpayer dollars. However, a recent audit from WCNC Charlotte that we obtained today shows the program needs a lot of improvements here.
Our Jesse Pierre has been sorting through it all. Jesse, what exactly does it show?
Well, the report notes that there were 125 deadly crashes in Charlotte in 2022, up from 81 in 2020. One of the major factors in those deadly crashes is speeding. The audit reports or notes that not enough is being done to turn those numbers around, and the city is failing to protect those on its roads.
Vision Zero was implemented to eliminate traffic fatalities, to save lives, to ensure that we are designing our city a safe place for all residents, whether they are
eliminating traffic deaths by 2030. That is the goal of Charlotte's Vision Zero program, adopted in 2019. But is the program on track? Well, according to a recent internal audit, the answer is no. Despite an increase in spending, there's been no significant decrease in crashes, resulting in deaths and/or suspected serious injuries. Charlotte City Councilwoman Dimple Ajmira calling the findings concerning.
The report is pretty clear that we are failing the residents of Charlotte.
The report notes that Charlotte Department of Transportation has not fully implemented key components of the Vision Zero action plan. Crash data is not consistently or correctly reported by CMPD, and the program lacks leadership.
Not having a structure in place is concerning because this plan was implemented back in 2019.
The report has several recommendations, including identifying someone who'd be responsible for action items, for CMPD to focus patrols and resources in high injury areas, and that crashes should be investigated for infrastructure improvements. Sustain Charlotte says it agrees with the recommendation and says making the roads safe for all users needs to be a priority.
A lot of that's around redesigning and designing streets that are safe for pedestrians and safe for cyclists and safe also for drivers. So no, it's not alarming to not see that change now, but if we don't see that in the next 5 years, yes, I would be concerned.